Mr. Wu. Good to
hello.
see you back.
Yep.
Well, actually, good to see myself back because I had some issues regarding my cataract. But that's for a different video. Definitely a different video. Okay, so today we're going to continue with these other third-party brands. Last time it was Vivitar. Now this time it's Tamron, and this is a very interesting about Tamron during the vintage days and how it got started. And then Mr. Wu's going to explain everything. So, Mr. Wu, what do we got here?
Okay, I start with the very first one. This tiny fellow here was the first lens that carried the Tamron brand. It's a 135, very short. It's a preset lens, 4.5. So this mount is changeable. So this was the original T mount. So you screw in the proper one. This one is a Pentax mount M42. So you put this on, and you can put it on a Pentax camera. 135, little tiny fellow. Then it came with a converter you can match. You can put a converter, so it will double up. Then it comes with a hood. The filter is inside the hood. So with the hood, this is the length. So like this is a 135. Then of course they have other mount. I have one for Exacta. So you can use this lens for many cameras. But at the time the range for the type of mount not so many. And this is a preset lens. So you open wide to focus, and then you close it down to take the picture. So from this is the dual Tamron. So when you put a converter, from 135 it go up to 227. Of course the aperture becomes smaller, but still for 227, 225, it becomes 225. So this is the final length with the converter. So when Vivitar was popular, Tamron also wanted to jump on the bandwagon. But they came in a little later, which was good because they overcome the limitation of the earlier Vivitar series and they improve a little bit. So they have this series called the Adapt All. Adapt All, they also have a changeable mount system. So you can switch the same lens for various mount. So you got mount for Canon, Minolta, Pentax ES, Nikon, Fujica ST screw mount. This is mounted on Fujica. So when they came on, there were more brands already, so they have more choices of mount. You can use it for many types. And this was the first Adapt All mount lens. This lens is what we call today a new old stock. It's a new lens, became old, but it was never sold, so it's brand new. 300 5.6. 300 5.6, and they have a coating. They call it the BBAR, multi-coated broadband anti-reflection coating. So they have a coating. So they have this. Then in the 80s was a boom. So they have lens for Nikon, a lot of mount for Nikon. And even for Nikon, they already have the auto-indexing figures, the numbers, so you can read out the aperture in the viewfinder. So they have two sets of lenses. One is a normal Tamron lens, and another one is called the one with the SP, special or super performance. So they got two grades. The SP was pricier, better performance. Then the normal one was just called Tamron. So they had a popular one, 35 to 80, 2.8, 3.8. That was a very good lens. Then they also produced a very wonderful macro lens, 35, 92.5. This will go up to half life size by itself, and you add a converter, you go up to 1:1. So you got two scales here. And this is a proper macro lens. So if you have many camera like this, you just have one lens with a whole set of adapter. You can use this lens for all of them. So this is mounted on Olympus. This is mounted on Nikon. They also started the wide zoom all-in-one lens. So this one is a 28 to 200. So if you are traveling, this one lens will do everything, 28 to 200. Later on, when autofocus came in, they used the same concept, but at that time the mount become fixed, dedicated. You want to buy for Nikon, you get the Nikon mount. You want Canon, you get Canon. That one went up to 28 300. So I did not bring that today because I just want to do the old ones. So they have this super zoom, 28 200. So this one is the old Vivita, the old Vivita. Then you can have it on Minolta. Now this is a big one, the 300 2.8. Manual focus, but internal focusing. So when you focus, the barrel does not move in and out, and they have a little lock. If you can preset to a certain distance and lock it, so there's a click, so you can return back to the spot easily. Otherwise, you can focus all the way here. And then to keep the filter affordable, is a drop-in 43 filter. So the filter is at the rear. Of course, you can put a huge protective filter in front. Then when you put on the cup, on the cap, lens hood, this is all metal, not the modern one, plastic. These are all. Well, I think if this lens, if you seal it up so that there's no gap, after the football you can pour the beer and drink. So, still hand holdable, it's light enough to focus. So it was this is the pre-autofocus days. So huge fellow. Then Olympus. This is the smaller version. And even Canon not forgotten. So you got the Canon. This one is another super zoom, 35 to 210. Okay, this one is Canon. So 35 to 10. So they have a very huge selection. They have many mounts, more than Vivita. They have mounts for the Leica, they got mount for the Pratica, Rolei, quite a lot more. Canon. So they continued this line until the advent of the autofocus. Then it was withdrawn because the autofocus camera, not only you have to do the mechanical linkage, but you have to do the electronic linkage, and that become a little bit messy. You can difficult to make a universal platform that can talk to all the different brands. So after that, they went back to fixed mount lenses. So these were good. So for the retailer, like I said earlier, they only need to stock one of each of these lenses and stock a wide variety of this mount. And so their inventory cost is lower. And if you are a person who like to collect many different cameras, because each camera got their own characteristic, but you only need to keep one set of lens. You don't have to get so many lenses. So it was a good run. Tamron, good lens maker. Today they're still around. They make the fixed mount autofocus. If I'm not wrong, they have been taken over. They've been owned now by Sony company. Yes, Sony Corporation. But they're still selling on their own. So independent lens maker today, the active one will be Sigma and Tamron. These are the two main companies providing third-party lenses besides the camera maker lenses. They are good quality.
Is it possible that you have vintage Sigma?
Sigma, I used to have a few, not many. No. In the early years, I have. Sigma also had this. They also had a system of changeable mount, but after that, they mostly went into fixed mount. They went into fixed mount. But they were big. They were the bigger independent lens maker. today they also quite popular. They actually, some of these third-party lens maker, they were more adventurous. They make lenses and range that the camera maker did not make. They started first, then later on the camera maker saw potential, they also follow suit. So they were quite innovative. They come up with new designs and all this. But in the early years, their build quality was not so good and it did not last so long. So when the lens was new, it worked well. But after that, the lens tend to fog up and all this, so it did not last so long.
How are they able to get the license for the mounts?
I think they talked to the various camera makers and then they got it. They got it. Only for some of the newer autofocus lenses, some companies are quite reluctant to share their technology. So they usually able to do the older one. And some camera maker, when they come up with new ones, they make sure that the third-party one won't work because they don't share with them the new firmware and whatever. But I think over the time they do. Now I think we're beginning to see Nikon Z lenses available. I think now certain owners, certain brands are also able to make the Canon R lenses, but not the full range, maybe a certain part. So I don't know. Depends on time they will change. If I'm not wrong, in the Japanese photo industry, they all talk to each other and they actually do things so that the whole industry is alive. So they have some kind of arrangement. So it's like that.
So they do it for the greater good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think our fans will definitely enjoy this video because they certainly like the Vivitar one.
Yeah.
Wow, we can't wait for the next one, Mr. Wu. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'm sure you read all the questions and stuff. Is there anything that comes up to your mind?
Not for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make that into another video.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Wu. Bye.
Bye.